And we got a semifinal matchup here for you guys. If we have time to jump over to the other one, we certainly will. But I would be surprised if we do, because Tyler Hill with Infect against Devin Eckert and Affinity. That's a fast matchup, and, well, this one's fast too.
And information on the deck list is so beneficial here for Todd, because sometimes you don't know, does the Merfolk deck have Vapor Snag in the main deck? Do they have Dismember? What does their removal look like? And having that information is extremely valuable. 2 copies of Dismember, no copies of Vapor Snag, and 4 copies of Harbinger of Tides, which can act as a removal spell in some spots, especially with Aether Vial.
It's a Serum Visions here for Anderson. He'll draw a card. Now he'll get to scry 2. See what he wants to do with the scry here. See Spellskite in hand. Unclear if Anderson actually has an Infect creature just yet. Looks like he has a copy of Gataxian Probe in hand. He can get an idea of what Alex is working with if he'd like, but Anderson looks like both cards are going down to the bottom. Not happy with what he found. So Serum Visions is done resolving. Han will draw.
This is not a matchup where Gataxian Probe is just a freebie. Alex is going to try to attack Todd, so he's not just going to keep it to keep it.
Gataxian Probe for alternate mana. Han will show his hand. Cavern of Souls, 2 copies of Master of Waves, a Dismember. Looks like a Spreading Seas. Harbinger of the Tides, Cavern of Souls over there as well. It's a pretty decent hand.
Well, he has Spreading Seas to answer a potential Nexus, and he has Dismember to answer an Infect creature. The problem with this hand, of course, the 2 copies of Master of Waves, very slow to get to the table, hard thing to tap out for, but Alex has a couple of his pieces of interaction, so can't ask for a lot more than this.
Probe is done resolving. Anderson draws another copy of Gataxian Probe. You mentioned they're not free. It's hard for me to argue with you. Just kind of playing Inkmoth Nexus and pass the turn back. So it's a Han will go. Here's a Cavern of Souls. And this play by Todd is pretty smart because he can activate Nexus if Spreading Seas is trying to be cast on it, and then play Vines to counter that. So that's actually a really smart play there from Anderson. Now there's another copy of Nexus.
And you see Alex elected not to go for the Spreading Seas that turn, and I think he's trying to set it up with Spell Pierce or Dismember backup.
Lord of Atlantis the draw.
The issue that I had with that line of play from Alex, though, is that he didn't have a 3rd land in hand. He really needs a 3rd land to be able to execute Spreading Seas with Dismember backup or Spreading Seas with Spell Pierce backup, whatever he's going for. Now he's in the spot where he kind of has to say go again if he's playing around Vines. He can't tap out for Lord of Atlantis, or he's just going to go for Spreading Seas this turn. He gets blown out the same way from Vines, and he's behind a turn.
Yeah, it's almost like his hand is forced now. And Todd actually might be okay with this one being hit by Spreading Seas. No, it looks like he's going to use Apostle's Blessing to counter this.
Apostle's Blessing is not doing a whole lot when Nexus is your path to victory against Merfolk, because they don't block in the air, really. There's a couple copies of Kira, but for the most part, your flyers are clear. So you'd rather keep the Vines as a pump spell.
Anderson will draw, picked up a copy of Become Immense.
And
I don't think it's over yet.
I think he's short of green mana to be able to Vines plus Become Immense in this turn.
Pro will show Todd mostly things he knows that are already there. Now it's time for him to draw. Another copy of Become Immense. Not great in multiples. Well, he might have some interest in just getting a shot in now while he can, so he's going to sacrifice Windswept Heath. There's a basic forest.
Doing a check here to see if he can double Become Immense this turn, and I believe he is short.
That would be tough. It would be impressive if he could, but that would be tough. Oh, looks like he's going to fire up the Nexus, come across here. And just one. I guess the thought here is I can play a Spellskite, defend myself, get the job done next turn potentially.
Yeah, this means the Dismember in Alex's hand, which is the only piece of interaction that doesn't do anything.
Yep. Complete rubbish now.
Yep.
Todd knows every card in his hand. The draw for Alex was a copy of Aether Vial, so if he plays that, Todd is working with perfect information, so he might have to continue to hold that now.
Mm-hmm.
Difficult spot here for Alex Han.
Because I think that if Todd just goes for an attack that turn and pumps with Become Immense, then something like Spreading Seas into Dismember is potentially an annoying line of play.
Todd can very quickly sacrifice a fetch land. I think we're going to see Become Immense plus Vines of Vastwood.
Or another copy of Become Immense. I think he's got enough mana and cards in graveyard now to do it both.
There's number 1. There's number 2. Making it look easy there with Inkmoth Nexus. And that is going to do it. Yeah, indeed. Todd Anderson going to win game number 1 here over Alex Hahn. Infect up a game over Merfolk, which means we got to turn our attention to the sideboard, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Alex Hahn, we hope he's got some good options. He's got 2 Relic Progenitus, 2 Spellskite, a Seize Claim, a Threads of Disloyalty, a Dismember, 2 Dispel, 2 Hibernation, 1 Spell Piercing. The way that he was able to beat Affinity, 3 Hurkyl's Recall.
We were talking about that. We were really surprised that he got through Affinity, but when you look at 3 copies of Hurkyl's Recall on the sideboard, Alex going through some great pains here to make sure the Affinity matchup was acceptable. I think Spell Pierce and 2 copies of Dispel are great here, as is the Dismember. The 2 copies of Spellskite are going to be coming in here as well, even though Todd's equipped with tons of answers there. And I think that Hibernation and Threads of Disloyalty, they're not ideal for this matchup, but I think Alex is in the market for anything that can interact, and Hibernation at least is something that doesn't target. So things like Apostle's Blessing, Vines of Vastwood aren't effective answers.
It's not great, but it might be better than the alternatives.
I think that he's got to lower the curve on his deck quite a bit, and I think some of his cards, you know, things like Master of Waves, Kira, Great Glass Spinner, these are not great tools for the matchup.
Other side of things here for Todd, Graph Digger's Cage, a Pithing Needle, 2 Relic Progenitus, Necropede, Spellskite, Viridian Corruptor, Leylana's Sanctity. You got 2 Dispels, 3 Nature's Claims, and 2 Twisted Images. Big deal here that Todd gets to see the sideboard. He knows his opponent has Spellskite, so he can sideboard accordingly.
So we can bring in the 2 Twisted Images. Those are easy. The question is, how much of the Nature's Claim stuff does he want? Alex has Aether Vials. He's got his copies of Spreading Seas, and he's got a Seize Claim that he's likely bringing in on top of the Spellskites. That's probably enough to justify all 3 copies of Nature's Claim, but Todd may only bring in, let's say, 2, depending on how exactly he wants to sideboard. I think the Viridian Corruptor can come in here as well, and I like the copies of Spellskite in the board that he has.
Just more protection.
Just more protection. Alex has very limited interaction, so everything that can fizzle a removal spell or eat a Dismember, I think Todd wants.
Game number 2 about to be underway here. I have a feeling we're going to get some pretty quick updates on what's happening in our backup match as well. But in the meantime, we will talk about SCG Game Night, the very popular promotion. It is September. It's time for you to go out there and get the Kraken.
Again, you can head over to StarCityGames.com/Game Night for more information. Every month we release these new kits to the stores with new pins and foils. Stores can run Game Night however they want to. Any format, sanctioned or unsanctioned, just get players in the store on a regular basis for some fun and friendly magic. This is the September kit that you're playing for right now. October coming down the pipeline very soon. We have the Hippo. Too late to sign up for this, but if you want to get signed up for the Otter in November, head over to StarCityGames.com/Game Night or contact your Star City Games organized play representative.
Very popular promotion, and that is, of course, Otter von Bismarck.
Otter von Bismarck.
It has been named. I believe most people are calling it Bubbles the Kraken, Polly the Hippo, and then Otter von Bismarck.
Why is the Hippo named Polly?
I don't know, it just sounds like a good name. Is there a better name?
I like, if there's no great option out there, I typically like alliterative names.
So you want to start with an H?
Heather the Hippo.
Heather?
Or Harry. I don't know the gender. I mean, just whatever.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah. I don't know.
Harry the Hippo's not bad. It can be Harry or Heather, either one.
Yeah. Harriet? Harriet the Hippo's a pretty good name.
A good hedge. A good hedge there.
Gender neutral-ish.
Yeah, ish.
Listen, man, I don't know. I come up with the majority of the awesome animal names. Other people can chip in, you know? It doesn't just have to be on me.
Well, we got Otter von Bismarck from Twitter, right?
No, that was me.
Okay.
That was me again.
Of course it was.
That was me again.
Yep.
Great otters in history.
Yeah. There are so many. Countless.
Countless.
But we went with Otter von Bismarck. So many of them.
Yeah.
Game number 2 about to be underway here between Todd Anderson and Alex Hahn. Again, our backup match, if we have time to jump that way, is between Tyler Hill, who is playing Infect, and Devin Eckert, who is playing Affinity. If we do have updates on that match, we will let you know. Can't imagine it's going to last too long.
And if you're looking for a less serious name, not a historical figure, I don't mind Harry Otter, but then you got to rename the Hippo because Harry,
Yeah, we can't have Harry for 2 animals.
There's a lot of moving parts is all my point is.
I understand that. I understand. No argument here.
And it can't just be on me.
Can't it? If you're going to brag about how good you are at it, it has to be on you then. That's
reasonable.
That's just kind of how that works.
That's not an unreasonable stance.
A basic island for Alex. He'll pass the turn back. Noble Hierarch here for Todd. Spreading Seas the draw here for Alex. Cavern of Souls, you have to imagine naming Merfolk. Now here's Silvergill Adept. He'll have to reveal a Merfolk, and he will, Lord of Atlantis. That'll allow Alex to draw a card. Going back Todd's way now. Got a little bit of mana acceleration. The question is, does he have an Infect threat? Looks like he has a Glistener Elf, not the premier Infect threat, though. I'll tell you, that Rancor has been really good for him this weekend.
Yeah, one in the main deck, and it feels like it's come up a lot in matchups where people are trying to chump block for a while. He's had it in matchups involving Lingering Souls and other 1/1 blockers. It's been good for him on camera.
He does have another Infect card in hand. It's actually Viridian Corruptor.
Trying to get some artifacts.
Let's see what the follow-up is. Yep, it's going to be Rancor. Suit him up. Getting ready to go. That'll be a 4-power attacker, too, with Exalted.
This would be a good spot for Threads of Disloyalty. Ooh, and a Hibernation drawn. I don't think Alex has land number 3.
That's an old school one. We do not see that card very often. I think of that more as a Cunning Wish target than anything. Maybe an old Psychotog and Mirari's Wig deck.
It was good in the sideboard. In the standard format, it was initially in.
Okay.
Some mono-green creature decks, and, you know, they lose the game on the spot if you ever do that to them. So it got its time.
They don't make hate cards like they used to.
No, they don't. Well, they kind of do. If you're looking to do, you know, shenanigans out of your graveyard, they make some pretty bad hate cards.
Yeah.
But they're looking to make sure that shenanigans out of the graveyard is something that's checked. They don't make things that are good against, you know, green creatures like they used to.
What are you thinking about over there, casting those green creatures?
So crazy. And in the same standard format, you have Hibernation and Saga, really good against a sea of green creatures. And then the next block, you know, sometimes your opponent only has 1 green creature, and Hibernation's not that good. So what do they print for you? Submerge. You got it covered on both sides.
You have a bunch? No problem. Just one? Also fine.
Both proved very good against Rancor.
Yeah.
A little bit of history.
Todd will draw a card. Picked up a copy of Blighted Agent.
Blighted Agent is very important now for Todd to have found because Alex is playing towards Hibernation.
Yep.
And if this game becomes a pure damage race, the way things look right now, Hibernation could be really bad news.
Lord of Atlantis blocked real quick there. Anderson's going to get to trample over for a little bit. Going to get his Rancor back from the trigger. Here's Blighted Agent. I have to imagine he's going to keep the mana up to be able to defend with a card like Vines of Vastwood.
Yeah, Dismember is a concern, and definitely the 1 copy of Threads of Disloyalty in the sideboard. Todd does not want that to happen.
One thing you can take away from watching this particular game, too, and you find this a lot when we watch Tom Ross play, the use of Noble Hierarch. A lot of people feel like you should kind of leave that up since it's, you know, it's kind of flexible in what it can do and all that stuff. But realistically, that's the one that those players tap more often than not. You want to leave the land available.
Yes.
You leave a creature available, you can get yourself into some trouble.
You know, pre-combat, I'll kill your Noble Hierarch. Post-combat, do something else. The land is safe.
Master of the Pearl Trident. Here comes Silvergill up for 3. There are islands to walk over. Han will pass the turn back. Anderson will draw. We know he's got Rancor in hand. Picked up a copy of Pithing Needle. I do wonder how far he's willing to go here. It's time for Rancor.
Well, as long as he's got Vines up, the only way... Alex can't really punish him. The only interaction he has from this spot is Dismember. So with Vines up, this is okay.
Spell Pierce in hand here for Alex. Here come the beatdowns. That'll be 4 Infect. Pass turn back. It's 2-turn clock here for Anderson. Doesn't have much of a reason to make a move.
Nope.
Threat to Disloyalty, the draw. Here come the fishies. Anderson, no blocks. Gonna take 5. The follow-up is Harbinger of the Tides. This is a Vines. Pierce can go after that. However, Anderson has another copy of Vines, and that's lethal right there on the table, unfortunately for Alex Hahn.
Alex played really, really well, too. I mean, he had an opportunity there. He could have just gone for Threads, go for the KO, but Harbinger with Spell Pierce backup is more likely to work, and then he can very realistically win the race. Unfortunately for him, Todd, 2 copies of Vines of Basswood, and this should be a lethal attack coming.
Yep, there's the attack, Exalted Trigger, and that's going to do it. Todd Anderson going to win this match here over Alex Hahn, 2-0. He is moving on to the finals. It's really been his tournament here, #1 overall seed, and he's going to play against either Infect in the hands of Tyler Hill or Affinity in the hands of Devin Eckert. Tyler Hill currently up a game over Eckert in the Affinity versus Infect matchup. That means we're going to get ready to move that way. But congratulations to Todd Anderson on another W and looking for another Open Series win.
And Alex played that very well, and you can see the issues that Merfolk has in the matchup. It's not like Alex